why we are here today. This is Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. Mic kwa ground. Why are we bringing the mic to the ground? So we can engage. At Jeevanjee Gardens, every day there's Bunge la Wananchi. And this is why even John Buddy, after he left our station on Monday, he came here to engage and to ask people, munaskiaje hii mambo ya hii economy? And they told him, walimpasha. Now we are here, so we can also say, well, how would we like to fix the nation together? Janet is here with a few people. Janet, ni nani uko naye hapo?
Nimeshika mic, niko kwa ground. I'm here with some of the people who came up and pioneered Bunge la Wananchi. We'll hear from them shortly. Tuko na Salim, Kiberenge, Paul, Raymond. I wish wangeniambia leo wanavaa suti. Naona vile wameng'ara. Mr. Salim, ungeniambia mapema ndio pia mimi nikuje na suti. Ni jambo la kujipanga ndio amesema. Okay, tuelezee kuhusu Bunge la Wananchi. Umesema it was something that started in the 90s but mli rebrand for it to be Bunge la Wananchi in 2003. Tuelezee.
Yeah.
Salim and Kiberenge are the people who come here and convene watu kwa ground for Bunge la Wananchi. Okay.
Bunge la Wananchi actually started in the early 90s. It started just as a gathering, a very small gathering of people just meeting to talk about their issues along Aga Khan Walk. So slowly it grew. The gathering started growing and growing and growing. And then the gathering now shifted to Jeevanjee from Aga Khan Walk. And here, the people, it was actually a platform for people expressing themselves on issues that affect them, ordinary people, because people did not have a platform to express themselves. So now the people are forming their own platform for expressing themselves and venting their frustrations about issues that affect them. So it participated. Bunge la Mwananchi was at the forefront of the clamor for multipartyism in the early 90s. In the early 90s, yes. In the 90s, yes. And now the name Bunge la Mwananchi was coined in 2003. The name Bunge la Mwananchi, People's Assembly. So the movement, it's a social justice movement which has been agitating for change, policy reforms, and the movement has achieved so much in terms of policy formulation and policy changes in this country. We are very much issue-based. Bunge la Mwananchi is countrywide. We exist in over 36 counties, and we are not politically affiliated. We are not affiliated to any religious organization. So that is what Bunge la Mwananchi is.
Na mnakuja mnakutana every day. Is that correct?
Yeah, mnakutana kila siku.
Okay. Salim, I'm told you're the one who from, I think, kwanza 90s, ndio ulikuwa umeanza Bunge la Wananchi. What was it called before?
Yes, mimi kwa jina naitwa Salim. Ile kitu ambaye naweza kuambia kuhusu Bunge la Mwananchi, I'm one of the founders of Bunge la Mwananchi. Especially, in fact, I'm the one who alikuja na hiyo jina Bunge la Mwananchi. Tulikuwa na discuss ni nani ambaye, ni jina gani ambayo tunastahili kutumia. By that time, tulikuwa na kina Marehemu Buru, tulikuwa kina Whisper, Marehemu Whisper, na wengineo ambao tulikuwa nao katika Bunge la Mwananchi. By that time, ilikuwa na kijana mdogo. Kwa sababu back in 1980s, 1990s, tulikuwa tumepigana sana kwa sababu unyanyasaji wa dictator Moi, ule ambaye alikuwa ametunyanyasa for so long time. Kwa hivyo tunakutana group kidogo, tuna discuss vile ambaye huyu mzee anastahili kutoka ndio tupate amani. Exactly, ulikuwa by that time ulikuwa problem ilikuwa affect wa Kenya kama today vile ambaye tumekuwa affected. Sasa baada ya hayo ndio 2003 tuliweza kwenda kukaa chini na SK Mashadi na akakubali kwamba atatusaidia tuwe kama tunachukuliwa na TV on Wednesday alafu kisha baadaye saa 8 Jumapili tunaonyeshwa. Sasa watu wote by that time walikuwa wanaingia kwa mahoteli gathering, wakiangalia vile ambaye wanaume wanajibiana katika bunge la mwananchi, tukizungumza mambo ya Kenya. Jambo ile ambayo litusababisha tukawa kama si tumekuwa sama popular ni wakati ambao tuliongea kuhusu Nalo Treaty ambayo ilikuwa signed by Mohamud na governor alikuwa by that time hapa Kenya wa ukoloni. Wakaweka signature kwamba nini iende Nalo Treaty 80%, mnaelewa 80% ya maji ya Lake Victoria imetoka Kenya, lakini haistahili kutumika na stahili kutumika Egypt. Sasa hiyo ndio tulianza kuweka moto na tukaiweka mpaka ikaweka maandamano. By that time tukajaribu vile ambavyo tutaweza ili tuweze kuweka bunge la mwananchi. Ni kikao cha kila mtu, kwa sababu tulitembea kila mahali Kenya ili tuweze kumake sure kwamba tumeweka change, kila mtu aweze kuelewa. Asante.
Asante sana Salim, kikao cha kila mtu cha muhimu. Paul, you're one of the people who comes for bunge la wananchi. Salim amesema hizo tatizo zilikuwa huko zamani, bado ziko Kenya. Tueleze vile unaona how Kenya is changing, kama tuna change ama bado tuko na shida mingi sana.
Kulingana na mimi, as one of the participants and one of the member of bunge la mwananchi, I feel like we are going back to where we started, and it is a very sad day, and it is a very it is what do I say? It is I think it is not good that we go back to where we were as nation. We have come from very far, and it is bad that almost 65 years down the line, we are not yet free. And so when I see what is happening, especially to young people, I feel like we need to be far by this time, but ni kama tunarudi nyuma instead of kwenda mbele. So we should be making a step forward, and we should be seeing these changes happening to us, changing us and changing our lives. But the leaders we have, especially the political class, they have decided to take us where we are, and it is bad. It is that bad.
I know shortly we'll have Latif join. Mike kwa ground. Raymond, Paul amesema it's a shame that tunarudi nyuma instead of kurudi mbele. Some people say inaanza na sisi. We can't always say government, serikali. How do you think wa Kenya? What do you think we need to do? Pia kujiangalia, kusema I need to do something to change this country.
Thank you, my sister. First of all, as my brother has said, I'll be contrary to him, because when you compare the situation right now in Kenya and the previous regime, a Moi regime, you get that in Moi regime, tulikuwa tunaweza always sema kitu, na ukisema kitu mbaya kwa serikali utakujiwa immediately. But now that multi-parties and the fighting of freedom of the country, tumeona kwamba right now I can say anything but to the government and nothing happen. Ayo kwangu naona kama we are making a step ahead. You see last time unaona kama US vile waliandamana kupinga hizo policy za Trump. Kenya pia tunakuwa tunafanya hivi. It means that we are moving from the old days to the new era, whereby you are allowed to say anything as pertaining that you are not infringing the haki ya mtu mwingine. So kwangu naona kwamba this country to fix, it needs somebody who can actually make a painful decision that can cut off all those channels zenye zilikuwa za kitambo, whereby mtu anasema I have to eat. Saa hii inatakana mtu mwenye anasema we have to eat, which means all the Kenyan people. Hapo tutakuwa tunasonga mbele. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Raymond. Yes, Latif and Mariam.
I say, is my mic? Oh, yeah, my mic is on. So, yeah, I like what you said, you know, that we are saying, and I want to just move in as we continue and joining this conversation. As you've said, we need somebody who can, you know, take the bull by the horns and fix it. Naomba unisonge pia ni join hapa tuendelee na hii gumzo. But how is that? How do we get that person? How is it a president that we need? Is it a member of the society that we need? Is it you and I, a citizen, that we need?
Thank you. Number one, we start from the top. We need the president who can make a very painful decision for this country to grow. You see that developing this country, we have been delayed for so long. And when you have leaders who can mean what they say, who can mean what they do, then probably Kenya will be another place. You have seen in America, now they're saying we are not going to support Africa. In fact, we are not supposed to be worried for anything because we have enough resources. What we only need is a leader who can make painful decision for the benefit of common mwananchi.
How do we identify that leader?
Number one.
Give me 3 characteristics of such a leader. Ukiangalia tu mtu hivi, you know, this guy has those 3 characteristics that we need. How do we identify them?
Number one, we need to, first of all, we have to go to history of a certain person, not the mouth or the words that he give us. First of all, to identify that person, you go to history of that person. From the start of his leadership, hata kama amekuwa mninimu kiongozi wa Cattle Dip, tujue hiyo Cattle Dip walikuwa naongoza namna gani. Unajua, sometimes tuwa tunadanganywa na some leader whereby mtu anasema mimi ni mzuri, but ukiangalia vile anafanya yeye mwenyewe ni PR. PR mingi ndio unajua ndio zinasumbua Kenya. Thank you.
So that is integrity, and we were talking about integrity. Remember, Janet, it's integrity. So one of the qualities then that you're saying is integrity. I'd be interested to know what other qualities are these that we say. If we are saying that we want to get a leader who we can use to fix this nation, what are we looking for?
And I think Salim will mention that, but also Rainbow alikuwa amesema that some of the things that used to happen then don't happen now, but they still do. There's still intimidation. There's still people who, when they speak out, especially in the last few months, tumeona abductions and all of those. And I want to, at some point, come back to Raymond and he can tell me what it was different then to now. Mariam, I'm coming to you in just a minute. Mariam is burning. She's like, niko na maswali. But Salim, you wanted to say something to what Eric alikuwa amesema.
Ule bwana Eriko umeuliza swali ya maana sana. Umeuliza ni nini ambaye tunaweza kuhitaji kiongozi ule kiongozi ambaye atakayeongoza Kenya kwa njia leo. Bwana Raymond alikuwa amesema. Nataka kuambia hivi. Kiongozi wa maana ni mtu ambaye si mnafiki. Mnafiki ni ule mtu ambaye kuna dalili 3. Dalili ya kwanza ya mtu mnafiki, mdomo yake huongea uongo. Ya pili, akifanya ahadi atimizi. Na ya 3, akichukua vitu za watu alekesi. Huyu ni mtu mnafiki.
Muongo, atimizi ahadi. Na harigeshi vitu za watu. Upenda vitu za watu. Anachukua vitu za watu kama mashamba, anachukua kama ng'ombe, anachukua kama mbuzi. Kama for example, unawezaje kuchange linda mama ikuwe linda ng'ombe? Kusema hilo kweli. Hata kama wewe ni zimizi, ile ambaye anatambaa hapa chini au ioni. Unaweza penda kitu kama linda mama ambaye wa mama anaweza kujifungua na waende nyumbani na mtoto. Uachane naye. Uende kufuatilia linda ng'ombe, ile ng'ombe sinyambe. Surely kichwa yako ni mzuri. Lakini Suleiman, at the point of before an election, how do you identify the characteristics of somebody then who would be good to fix the nation? And I'm saying across the board. Ndio nimesema ule ambaye anaweza kuhitajika. Utamzaje? Ile kuhitaji ni vile ambayo unajua unaweza kwa watu wote ambao wako hiyo political class. Ndugu yangu, si kwamba ni kuna mtu mgeni hapo. Hakuna mtu mgeni, ni Mkenya kamili ambaye tumekaa naye. Na ukitaka kuona mtu wa maana, unaanzanga kuanza tabia zake vile ambayo humbehave. Sasa hii unaweza kujua kwamba mimi tabia yangu si mzuri kulingana vile ambaye mna behave. Siwezi kuwa kama mimi ni mtu wa kusema mambo tu na kesho hiyo mambo ni kama sio mimi niliongea. Kwa hivyo samani kwa yule ambaye anaona kama namfinya, lakini ukweli ni Mungu na Mungu ni ukweli. Kiberenge, before Mariam comes.
Let me just add something on what he has said. You know, the problem we have in this country when identifying leaders is that we have been looking at political competencies rather than technical competencies of that person. We are electing people based on their political abilities rather than their competencies. That is the problem we have. And our leadership right now is so much about software. Software. You know, you cannot run a country in the 21st century with the software of 1990s, 1970s. You cannot run a country in the 21st century with the Moist mindset. You have to run a country. If we have to move forward as a country, we have to change the software. We have a situation where we are just swapping faces, political elites. You know, removing this one, replacing with another political face, swapping faces. We shall never change. That is just a vicious cycle that takes us nowhere. We have to have a radical paradigm shift in our governance mindset.
Kiberenge, I have to interrupt you, Nikulize. We have had...
So Mariam is asking a question.
Yeah. We've had many leaders with the best competencies. I think President Uhuru's cabinets had some of the best technocrats that Kenya has seen. Penyona Tolewa, they have done excellent work. Things that cannot be matched. They have track records, they have CVs. Zinatisha. But somehow Akingiagava, I don't know what happens there. So then what's the disconnect? Because even if you have the best competencies, something still seems to happen Ukingiagava. Mtu anapotelea huko. There's still a disconnect. There's something we're not getting. Why is it that mtu akingia tu gava, you enter the system, you become the system, one and the same? Oh yeah, I see.
My name's Tabu Charles, Chairman Bunge la Wazalendo. To concur with her statement, and I want to give an answer to her statement, is that yes, Uhuru had a network on aspect of professionalism to manage the cabinet. But the problem is that they were not independent. They were under directive and directions. So you are there to serve your master, not to serve the people. And that was the problem within the government. And you find the first term of the Uhuru, there was no performance. Only after the second term, even the government of Kibaki, the first term there was no performance. The second term there was performance. After that collusion, the same way even with the Uhuru. So what we lack in this country is that we lack the goodwill of performance, the people with integrity. First of all, the criminals of today are the leaders of tomorrow. So that is the problem we have. Most of our leaders don't have integrity in total. And more so, the ethics and anti-corruption institution is not independent. They are the people clearing criminals for us to give a mandate by voting. So it is not us, the voters, because we have been given the criminals. So we choose among the criminals. So we have to get one criminal to be in the position of power. So that is the problem we have in the country. And then Electoral Commission of Kenya. The Electoral Commission of Kenya is not independent per se, because the night meetings of the Electoral Commission has affected even the election. That's why, after the clearance of the ethics and anti-corruption to IBC, now we end up getting criminals in leadership. And a country whereby criminals are in power, there will be no integrity. There will be no productivity in terms of development. Because these people don't leave legacy. What they leave is that they leave empty coffers. They leave our taxes are not serving us. Our taxes are serving them. And they grow richer than us. More so we vote to be poor.
Because the question was, is it the political competencies that we are looking for? Or is it the technical competencies? Because that's what Kiberenge had raised, and that's the same thing that Mariam was asking. So where is the balance? What is the balance between the political competence, and the political competence is that one of being able to speak to the people, convince the people, go with the people, carry the people along, and the technical competence, knowing exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah, what should be done is a civic education to more so Kenyans, right from the grassroots, of which they are avoiding the funds that are going towards civic education. When the civil society, their funds were being frozen, and they were complaining to us, America, not to give Kenya, NGOs and civil societies money for civic education, while now they are complaining about the drugs. But they didn't remember that during the time of 2002, there were so many civil society being funded. As we are now pushing out Moi regime, there was so many funding towards civil society, and we did a lot. to educate people and to get a right direction. Only that the problem comes on our own. When it comes to the welfare of the community, the welfare of the poor Kenyan, they don't want. What they want is that each and every election, we go poor and poorer. Are you seeing?
Yeah.
So the problem is integrity. And we have the integrity office, which is not doing its purpose. It is serving a master.
Well said.
And it is a reward of those churches. The churches that ally to the party, out to the government, are the ones to be the chairman of the...
You know, Mariam, and I can see Giuliani, Eric, we all have tumeshika mic kwa ground, and I know we're coming just now. I want to ask something. And to all of even the founders and the pioneers of Bunge la Wananchi, see, the idea is that one of you here should end up having some kind of position of leadership. Or is that a wrong thing to say? You want to occupy, if I can say, a position of leadership. Do we have faith? Because I think it starts this way. You talk about the issues, but more than that, are you preparing somebody here among you to also say, Inanza na mimi, I need to also take a part and step up and even go on the ballot and run for office in some way, for MCA, MP. Has that ever come up? Are we ready in this space to have somebody who can say 2027 can change because of something that one of us can do?
Okay, first I want to start by saying that Bunge la Mwananchi has produced those leaders. Somebody like Okiya Mutata was from here and is doing a very good job. And very many other leaders, including Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, Willy Mutunga, Alfred Kiter, Babu Owino is also part of this Bunge la Mwananchi. And very many leaders, I think my seniors will mention all of them. And also, Bunge la Mwananchi is also fronting. We are also fronting some of the leaders also, so that they may start also occupying some of these seats, so that we may start change from the grassroots. Because for us, we believe in chapter 1 of the Constitution, which says power belongs to people. And the government of today doesn't want inclusivity. They need to start including the common mwananchi. They need to listen to what is affecting common mwananchi, so that it may start from ground. But what we've been seeing day in, day out is them coming together and fronting themselves to prevent and to fight for what they have stolen from us. And that's why we want to start including the common people, especially from Bunge la Mwananchi, so that they may go out there and start preventing what belongs to Kenyans.
Then by show of hands, as Mariam comes in, are we happy with, as Bunge, with the leaders that we've produced from here? Have they lived up to the ideals of Bunge la Mwananchi, of what we say, this is what we feel that our leader should be? By show of hands, aye? No hands.
Eric, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. I was going to ask, is there then a system for holding people accountable? Because we keep saying we'll hold our leaders accountable, we will. But when they've come specifically from Bunge la Wananchi, then there's a direct line of communication. One, so mtu haezi kupotea ati, siku hizi haonekanangi nini. There should be that direct line. Is there a way to hold them accountable? Even as we speak about holding leaders accountable as a whole, at large, from MCA to MP to women rep to kila mtu, the guys who've sprung from here, because I've not seen too many hands go up, how do we hold them accountable? Because we can't be here sitting, discussing, agenda iko the same, alafu kijipata uko, things have changed. Yeah.
I think, the leaders have come up. The only thing that we are having as a problem, more so in line of our civic education among our people and see how we can seek leadership, is finance. And most of the government is monitoring the people here, day and night, even where they're staying, where they're sleeping, and the people they're communicating to. So you find even the people who have produced, let's say like Mutata, let's say like William Mutunga. Mutunga was even the Chief Justice, and we expected a lot from him. But unfortunately, let us down. So we don't know what normally happens once somebody gets the position, even though there was high level of threats. And in life, if you want to achieve your goals, you should not fear. That is another challenge you are facing here. Because these guys are good when they are with us, but when they get this position, now they fear. And then secondly, they should come back and assist the people on the ground. In fact, even right now, they should be here and say something that, okay, we can allocate some funds the way they are allocating to parties. Parties normally allocate funds to their, most of the leaders normally allocate funds to their parties, the elected parties. But the candidates from Bula Mwananchi, any other civil society, once they are elected, they forget about where they came from. They only come back when now they are not in the power or they are not in position of leadership. That's why we are trying to also to give them civic education. It is not by the time you need is when you come. By the time now you have received it, you don't come. You should come and assist the people on the ground, fund Bunge la Mwananchi, fund all the activities and the people within here. They should allocate funds and they should team up as a product of Bunge la Mwananchi.
I hear that, but I've still not gotten a concise answer on the accountability bit. That this is, it doesn't require finance, it does not require gava. It's just how does Bunge la Mwananchi hold the people who come up as leaders from it accountable, right? Hapo ndio swali yangu iko.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know if Giuliani wants to step in now, because the question is what happens? We have people here, they get to these offices, and he's saying, and then they let us down. Is it the system? Is it the people? Giuliani.
So, naona kuna kenye tunakataa kukubali hapa, and we are blaming everybody else but ourselves. Kwani hatu tunaongea kuhusu hawa wa integrity, tunaongea kuhusu Ruto, sijui nani, presidency. Si ni watu walikuja kwenyu hapa wakauliza kura, si ndio? Alafu mlikuwa na option ya Starehe, for example, mlikuwa na Boniface Mwangi hapo, mlikuwa na Jago hapo, mlikuwa na nani? Nyinyi mkawachagua nani? Mlichagua nani? Mlichagua nani? No, so every time we blame everybody else but ourselves. We don't want to say that actually Ruto alienda akapigiwa kura, kuna tunaweza sema waliiba, zingine hawakuiba, tunaweza sema hizo vitu zote, but at what particular time do we take responsibility? Because 2026 ikifika ama 2027 tutaanza kuongea kuhusu kabila hapa. Sisi wote hapa tutaanza kuongea kuhusu Wajaluo wako na kura hizi, Wakikuyu wako na kura hizi, nini? At what particular point do we take responsibility?
About governance, let me have a bite about accountability. I think as Bunge la Mwananchi, in our track record, we have been so much holding leaders to account, public officers. In our track record, it is very clear. We make petitions for the removal of public officers who have been involved in embezzlement or misappropriation. We do petitions. We even go to the court. We petition for the removal of such people. But the mechanisms of accountability in this country, we have parliament. We have delegated the responsibility of accountability to parliament, who are our elected representatives. But there is a problem, because when parliament or when parliamentarians fail to hold leaders accountable, fail to oversight the executive, we as citizens, we must also have a recourse against parliament. That recourse must be recalling the MPs. That is now where we are stuck. Hapo ndio tumekwama. Kwa sababu inafaa wale wabunge wakikosa hold the executive, oversight the executive, hold the executive accountable, inafaa sisi wananchi tuweze kuchukulia wabunge hatua. Na hiyo hatua ni kurecall. Hiyo ndio, kwa sababu katiba, Article 1 of the Constitution says all sovereign authority belongs to the people of Kenya. The people may exercise directly or indirectly through their elected representatives. So our elected representatives, on our behalf, they oversight the executive. And when they fail to do it, we must do it directly. How must we do it directly? By recalling those MPs, because they have failed in their duties. But now we cannot recall. For example, right now we have no IBC. So we cannot recall these MPs. We are very eager right now to recall these MPs. Very many of them, because they are incompetent, instead of performing their functions of representation, legislation, and oversight, they are busy in the bed with the executive. And MPs must not be in one bed with the executive. MPs must act independently. They must protect Kenyans. They are representatives of Kenyans. Parliament should be the voice of Kenyans. It should not be the voice of the executive. Right now, as it is constituted, Parliament is the voice of President Ruto. It represents President Ruto. It does not represent Kenyans.
But you know, President Ruto did not elect Parliament. Right? It's the people who elected 290 representatives from constituencies, 47 representatives from counties, and political parties nominated, that people belong to, nominated 10. Yes. Okay? So Ruto did not put anybody into that parliament.
Yes, I know Ruto did not do that. He did not elect the MPs. But MPs, we are not blaming Ruto. We are blaming MPs for abdicating and running away from their role. There are 3 roles of representation, oversight, and we are not blaming Ruto.
I hear you, Berenge. How do we fix that? So how do we fix it? Because we put them there
first,
and they should be answerable to us.
Yes.
And you're saying now they're not answerable to us.
Yes.
They are kowtowing to the executive.
Yes.
How do we fix it?
The first way to fix it is to make recall a reality. When 1 or 2 MPs are recalled, the rest will learn a lesson. They will know that they must do their work. Secondly, when we are electing MPs, we must look at the qualities of the kind of MP we are electing. We must not elect somebody just because he has given you some handouts, or somebody because he's rich or whatever. We must elect somebody who is passionate about serving the people. In fact, me as Kiberenga, I can say the position of MP should be a position of volunteerism. There must be volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't volunteer, don't go there. They must get only a monthly stipend, not earning 1 million, a monthly stipend of volunteerism.
Of how much?
Of even 200,000. Of even 200,000. It must be a position of volunteer. Na kama hutaki kuvolunteer, enda tafuta kazi.
Mimi ningependa kwanza turudi nyuma kidogo hapo mahali ambaye ule madamu alikuwa amejaribu kuuliza. Nasema hivi, in this bunge la mwananchi 2006 tulikuwa tumeteza movement ambayo ilikuwa inaitwa MOPA. That's movement for political accountability. Tukajaribu iwezekanavyo, make sure kwamba 2007 wameingia almost 80% walienda nyumbani. Na ukumbuka vizuri, hiyo group ambayo ilikuwa kina Totoman na hiyo takataka yote ambayo ilikuwa anasumbua hapo mbele tukatoa. Lakini kuna jambo moja amba hao jamaa wamejaribu kutufunika kabisa. One, hiyo kama hatuna uwezo wa kifedha. Alafu wanaweka nini inakuwa kama iko juu sana. Wanaweka game yetu, hiyo game ya political, kama ni kwenda kuregister na mambo kama hayo anaweka juu. For example, huwezi kuniambia mimi mwenyewe nikiwa kama nataka kuwa governor. Nikiwa nataka kuwa governor, ni lazima niwe na mita 1 million. Hiyo 1 million na refundable. Na hiyo pesa ninastahili kuwa kwamba niongezee mambo ingine kadhaa. Kwa sababu nina ile ya chama, kuna ile ambayo nastahili kupatika kwa IMBC, na kisha baadaye niende nikasimame. Ninaweza kuwa nimequalify kwa education, mimi ninafaa kabisa na leadership hata tukiwa kwa bunge la mwananchi mimi niko sawa. Lakini kwa sababu ya wale ili waweze kuniweza, wameiba pesa mingi, wananizuia na mambo ya pesa. Wanajua kabisa Nganga ana pesa ambayo anaweza kutosha kutoa 1 million. Kwa hivyo sasa itakuwa hata kama mimi na qualify sifai kuwa pale. Neno la pili, mnastahili uelewe kwamba tumejaribu kuweka watu tofauti. Lakini ukichukua leo Dasno 215 grams, inaitwa grams ama inaitwa grams, uende umwage Lake Victoria, haitakuwa na effect. Kwa hivyo the best way to make sure kwamba tumeweka almost 70% tutoe hao watu. That's the way. Ili tuweze kujitoa kwa hiyo kizungumkuti. Kwa sababu ya kwa nini ambaye anasema namna hiyo? Tulikuja na Augustine Neto. Dhiwa. Augustine Neto alikuwa ametoka hapo. Tulikuwa Harvard Ketel. Na ukiangalia ile product ambayo tumelete, hakuna mmoja unyamaza. tulikuwa na kina Ukia Mtata. Hao unawaona hata wewe mwenyewe. Babo Wino ni part and parcel of us. Na unajua si mtu wa kusalenda. Hakuna mmoja. Lakini kwa sababu wale weko pale, mashetani ndio wengi kuliko mmoja ambaye ameokoka. Ndugu yangu, utakuwa na kibarua kingumu. Si kwamba si kupenda kwetu. Tunataka change of the country. Tunaambiwa kwamba sovereignty power of the country belongs to the people. Yes, we are the people. But tumevunga mkono. Unataka umbo wako yume na umevunga mdomo. Hata kibweka itafanya nini? Ama umevunga shingo. Itakuwa na bweka iko pale na hivyo ndio naona sisi tunajaribu kubweka ili kila mtu aelewe kwamba kuna shida. Tunajaribu kwa lile ambayo tunaweza, mpaka tunachukua simu, tunachukua na sisi wenyewe ndio kila mtu aelewe kwamba tunafinywa. Kwa sababu ni kitu ya kusikitisha sana. Kwa kama watoto wetu utoa shule zetu inatoa over 250 students kutoka university kila mwaka na hakuna kazi. Kenya is a country of inaitwa nini? Country of inaitwa commercial, inaitwa nini? Hii ya kuuza biashara.
It's a trading entity. Let's take a break. We've got to take a break. Yes, it's coming to the top of the hour. This is Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. Today's conversation is Mike Kwa Ground. We are live at the Jeevanjee Gardens. I'm here, Eric Latif, Janet Bogwa is here, Mariam Bishar is here. We had a guest earlier, Giuliani, and what a crowd, yeah, Bunge la Mwananchi, who meet here every day to talk about how to fix this nation, are who we are engaging today. How do we fix the nation? We've talked about how we can fix maybe leadership. The next, tutaulizana, how do we fix ourselves? Kuna vitu mingi sana tufanyi. It leads up into how we make our decision. Unachukua corruption, unatoa hongo, unaitisha hongo, unatupa takataka, unakojoa kwa ukuta. All these things lead up to issues of integrity. How do we fix it? Keep it here. We'll be back shortly. Well, welcome back. We are fixing the nation one conversation at a time. Today's conversation is Mike Kwa Ground. We are at the Jeevanjee Gardens live, congregating with the Bunge la Mwananchi, the members of Bunge la Mwananchi, which is many people who just come every day to Jeevanjee Gardens to talk about how to fix our conversation, how to fix our nation. And that's what we are here doing here today. We also acknowledge everybody who is joining the community of fixers online. We have Eri XO who says, some asked to know the right leaders from MCs, councillors, members of parliament, etc. By doing our homework now, the person standing on that seat, we know them by their fruit, right? I think that's what we talked about. Irene says this is how we fix the nation, by engaging one conversation at a time, all of us engaging one conversation at a time. So as we are here, the next conversation is how do we fix the society? We have talked about leadership, okay. How do we fix ourselves as society? Let's start with tracking what we are watching in the news today with our news fix. Mariam?
That's right. So many things happening, but I want to engage also guys here on what's been going on in Haiti. The fact that we sent about 600 police officers and now 144 more have joined them. But basically the contingent of police officers joining the MSS mission has now gone up by 144 people. That's as of 6th February of 2025. And they were flagged off by the Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen on Thursday evening. And they made their way to Haiti, and they also included an all-female SWAT team that is highly tactical and brings specialized expertise into the field. President Ruto says there was initially a freeze on funding for this mission, but President Ruto says that they have reviewed bilateral relations between Kenya and the US. They have reaffirmed our mutual commitment to strengthening and all existing cooperation. And of course, the discussions confirmed that the US has specifically exempted its support for the multinational security support mission in Haiti from the broader pause on federal assistance. So basically, we are back on in Haiti. Mambo inaendelea hivyo. We've sent now another 144, including an elite all-female SWAT team. I was asking Eric and Janet earlier, and Giuliani as well, mbona tusifagie kwetu kwanza? Mbona tusifagie kwetu? Do we have GSU officers to spare to be sending to Haiti? And I understand we live in a connected world. It's a global village, all that and more. But is there any reason for us to be sending 744 police officers to Haiti when I'm not guaranteed that if I walk down Moy Avenue, nikikuja hapa usiku like 4 a.m., can I just walk down Moy Avenue and be, assured of my safety from the basics? And I know that's not the work of GSU, but your turn, your swali yangu, guys. Is there a feeling that we don't have enough to spend?
Please. Mariam, please.
Mariam has raised that point.
It's been disturbing me.
To be continued. We need to do a shika mic for Mariam.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's a good point, and I think Mariam asks a
point.
question that a lot of people genuinely have the same question. Yeah.
Ni swali kubwa sana. So we also have something that we do every day, right? And this is just looking at quotable quotes by famous people, by not people who are not known, but people who have said something that is fundamental. And our word is Janet. You want to ask who? Kiberenge?
Kiberenge.
Kiberenge kiongozi wa bunge la mwananchi hapa Jeevanjee ground. Aya. Who said what?
Aya. So Kiberenge, I think because you've shown us you're somebody who is an active citizen, as we like to call them, a fixer. So this person was a religious leader in South Africa who was very passionate about change, especially during a time when South Africa was going through a very divisive, terrible time in their history. Takusomea quote, and then from those hints, you let me know whether you already know who it is or whether I need to give you another hint. This is the quote. My humanity is bound up in yours because we can only be human together. Who said that, Kiberenge? South Africa, religious leader, especially during apartheid, when the country was going through a lot of division. This person used to go to the pulpit. Nalikuwa naongea mambo ya freedom. Even when he was praying and preaching, he always talked about the rights of the people of South Africa, and he was a religious leader. Do you remember his name?
Anamjua.
He's a bishop. I don't know why I'm forgetting.
He's a bishop.
Bishop.
Bishop. Is he alive?
Kiberenge, is he alive? Can we ask?
Utasema usaidiwe ama bado najaribu?
My name is Joachim. I do not think if he's still alive. It's Desmond Tutu.
Oh yeah,
Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He talked about humanity, which I think is what we're all talking about here at Jeevanjee Gardens.
It's the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
Yes.
Right? Of South Africa. And those are very powerful words on what he said. Humanity is all, we are all linked, interwoven, one after the other. And that's why let's move into our conversation then this hour. How do we fix ourselves as a society? Okay? Maybe the first question is, do we as a society need fixing? Do we? So how do we fix ourselves? Huyo amejibu apate nini ya kwanza as zawadi ya kupata Desmond Tutu.
Okay, good morning. My name is Joachim. And first indicator that we actually need fixing in ourselves is because when you look at the choices we are making, it's the fruit of who we really are. And I've always been saying here, time without number, that whenever you see the leader of any group is a witch, then that leader is a leader of witches. Because people who are not witches cannot choose a leader who is a witch. Therefore, we've been complaining a lot about what we are putting out there when it's actually what we really are. Because a person who is really a person with a lot of integrity, a person who wants things to be done the right way, will go for the person who actually does things the right way. But we are going for people who do things the wrong way because we actually need some fixing. And one of the ways of fixing ourselves is actually understanding what do we really want out of the lives that we are living. Understanding what the purpose of you as an individual is. When we want to live in a society that security is guaranteed, then it becomes my duty to make sure that I am my brother's keeper. Because when everybody does that, then there will be no need for us to beef up security because you can look out for your brother and your sister. But we have a problem because we ourselves are a problem unto ourselves. And when you look at things that happen, you realize that somebody leaves his job, gets into a vehicle, he's ferried to some far place to go and heckle. just for in return apate kitu kidogo. But if you are a principled person and say, we are not going to do this particular thing, I am going to remain at my workplace, and I'm not going to engage in these wayward things, then we will influence the society to actually be better than what it is today. Because I believe that you should be the change that you want in the society.
Peana tu hiyo mic hivyo across, wacha iende hivyo alafu kuja pande hii.
Thank you. I'm Isa Mohammed. To me, we the people of Kenya, we must have our own self-discipline. Number one, we must realize where we come from, where we are, so that we rearrange our destiny. And through that, we must ourselves sit down and ask ourselves, what do we want? It doesn't matter the kind of government we have, whether it is democratic or rather dictatorship or the other way of government. But we must consider policies. Those policies are the most important, vital in our way we want to be. For instance, we had a nation like Libya under Muammar Gaddafi. They never used to vote. They did not have what we call a democracy. But actually, when you see the rearrangement that they had under the leadership of Muammar Gaddafi, there was no complaint. Each and every member of the society was enjoying what is supposed to have within the government. So that is what we must think about it. And we should also remove this notion of saying that our people, for instance, we have a party like Wiper. It is just concentrated within Lower Eastern. A party like ODM, it is just concentrated within Western. A party like UDA, it is just concentrated within Mount Kenya and Rift Valley. So what am I trying to say? That one, it means that it's just all about the identity that we belong to this particular region. Hii ni yetu. Tukikuja pamoja ni kufanya tu alliance. Right now, people are agitating for the change. They want to get at least wabadilishe mfumo wa nini wa kisasa. They are complaining about the government. But do you think a person like Waititu can bring a change because he's a person who have been tested na akaonekana ako namna gani?
Lakini how do we fix ourselves? Tumesema wengine wachana nao.
Yes.
How do we fix ourselves?
We Kenyans, we must consider ourselves ni nini ambacho tunataka. For instance, right now, ukiangalia we are in democratic society like Kenya, and kila kitu ambacho tutataka kubadilisha, it is through the political parties. But the common mwananchi does not have a political parties. All political parties headquarters ziko huku juu. Na mnajua nikisema huku juu, huku kwa forest ni watu gani wanaishi?
So unataka watu wafanye nini? Watu waanzishe chama? So
kwa hivyo wananchi lazima wao wenyewe wajiamini, waseme kwamba tunataka kutengeneza chama chetu. Hichi chama chetu ni cha mwananchi wa kawaida kwa ajili ya maslahi ya mwananchi wa kawaida. Isikuwe ya kwamba ni chama ambacho ile kitu tunasemanga kingpins wetu wako na chama, sasa huyo ndio atatupatia mwelekeo.
Sawa, asante. There was a hand coming up here. Wacha tusikie wengine alafu turudi kwako. Sawa?
Sawa. Nilikuwa nataka kujibu hiyo swali tu hiyo swali ambalo kumuuliza direct tu niwaachie. Nataka kuambia hivi, ndugu zanguni. Katika ulimwengu wa chokora, ule ameoga ndio mjinga.
Ndio mjinga.
Katika ulimwengu wa chokora, ule ameoga ndio mjinga. Na wanakupatia sababu ambaye hasieleweki, unadhania ni kama ukweli. Wanakuambia ukioga utasikia baridi, utahisi baridi na mambo kama hayo. Sasa katika ulimwengu ya Kenya, kwa sababu kitu ya kwanza almost 90% wamekuwa corrupt. Imekuwa kama kuwa corrupt ni mtindo. That's why hata si wenyewe kujipix inakuwa ngumu. Ukweli wa mambo, kuna jambo ambayo Mheshimiwa Kiberenge alikuwa amesema hapo. Alikuwa amesema kwamba sisi wenyewe tunastahili kumulikwa. Ndadangu hapo ambaye yuko next Kiberenge amesema kwamba sisi wenyewe imekuwa shida kujipix kwa sababu sisi wenyewe ni part and parcel problem. Ili tuweze kuchange, lazima tuanzie na sisi. Na ndipo umekuja na hiyo neno, wewe mwenyewe umekuja na hiyo neno ya Desmond Tutu. If you want change, start with us. Na ili kuanzia na sisi, ni lazima tumulike ni nani amefanya nini. Kama wewe ni mwizi, una expect ni change aje? Ninawezaje kukuambia nenda uoge na mimi mwenyewe siaoga? Ni lazima kitu ya kwanza nioge, alafu nitoke. That's why watu wengi wale matajiri, tuseme matajiri, niseme matajiri kwa jumla, wanaona kama bunge la mwananchi ni kama a movement of goons. Wengine watuona kama thieves ama conmen, watuona majina. Kwa sababu kitu ya kwanza ni kama mimi ni chokola mwenzao lakini nimeoga. Wananiona mimi ni adui. Instead ya kuona ukweli yangu.
Eric, before we get
wacha tuende kwa Marion Pandele and then we come back.
I want to hear your solution, so to say, but picking on vile umesema kwa dunia ya chokora mwenye naoga ndio nakamjinga, si ni kweli?
Ni kweli.
Let's think about this as we hear from him. In a world of everything is done by kupeana kitu kidogo.
Yes.
When you're the one who's trying to kushikilia kusema hapana tupatane kotini, when ndio nakamjinga, si ndio? Because you can solve this problem in 5 minutes but you're choosing to extend it for 6 months. Is that realistic? To be that person? Just hold it as he gives us his solution kwanza, alafu tutarudi hapo, because I want to know kama tuna fix tunaanza na sisi kweli ama we're just holding others to account.
Na ninaweza tamka neno moja hapo dadangu nikuulize. Mnaweza kumbuka kwa wale ambao walikuwa enzi hizo 2003, wakati ambaye wa Kenya ilikuwa wakati Kibaki aliingia kama president, Mariam Kibaki, Mwenyezi Mungu amweke mahali pema. Tulikuwa tumejitolelea wa Kenya, tukasema basi hakuna askari atakayepewa hata single cent. Askari alikuwa akisimamisha ngari, unaona Wakenya wote wanatoa single kwa dirisha, waangalia, akipewa 50 waambie rudisha, ili tuweze Lakini hiyo mambo, kwa sababu wale wachache ambao walikuwa wamejaribu kuoga katika hiyo ulimwengu ya corruption, bado wakashindwa nguvu, ndio tukarudishwa mahali ambapo tulikuwa. That's why tuko katika kizungumkuti. Ili tuweze kujitoa kwa hii kizungumkuti, ni lazima tulazimishane, tuseme tuweze kuwa na rehabilitation in this country, ya kutoka ule ambaye kuna nia mbaya, tuna deal na yeye as a person, ili tuweze kutoka from this stage to another stage.
Acha
Okay, my name is Asman. I think what I'm going to say here, some of you won't take it lightly. Emergency, right? And the problem is our parents. You see these people sitting here? These are the problem. I'll give you a good example. I'm a lawyer. But my mom always tells me, "Staki ni kuona umeoa Mkikuyu." My mom always tells me, "Staki ni kuona umeoa Mjaluo." Why? They are so tribal, and that one translates to the national politics. This one is a Kikuyu, you cannot go to Western and vie for a seat. So, let me tell you one thing. This time round, mambo imebadilika. You see this Gen Z, 2027 is going to be a different kind of politics that has never been experienced in this country. You saw what we did the other time about protest. We are planning ourselves. In a Syria nawaambia, 2027 is going to be a year that the whole of Africa will be looking to Kenya.
Sawa. Swali ni,
yes,
how are we fixing ourselves?
Now,
let's not lose track of what we are discussing.
Yes.
I
was coming to that. I was coming to that. Now, the first thing is through, someone said about civic education. We as youths, we need to engage our parents. Once we engage them about tribalism and we kill that, I can tell you we are going to fix this nation. Because tribalism is a problem. You see, you are going to an office to look for a job. When someone's here that you are a Kipto, atakupatia kazi. So when someone's here you are Ronyango, he tells you go home. So
we fix tribalism.
Tribalism.
And our view of tribalism. Tosha.
Yes.
Chukua.
Okay, thank you so much. I am Hosea. In this world of politics, there is 3 things that we are missing. One is what we call self-political respect. Number 2 is self-political control. And then number 3 is self-political discipline. Why do I say this? There are so many things that we have to do. which criteria do we use when we elect our leaders? That is the first step that we need to understand ourselves. First and foremost, we choose our leaders based on political party. If I am a UDA member, even if I am a mad person, my people will elect me. Why? Because I'm in UDA. Our people also will elect me maybe because I have money. And that is what has manipulated our people down to the ground. We have talked about the issue of civic education. Saizi nikupe mfano. Wewe uko na pikipiki yako. Unajua iko na makosa. Umeenda ukapatana na polisi. Polisi akakwambia nikushike nikupeleke polisi ama utatoa 50. What will you do? Nini inaendelea kwa ground?
50 natoka.
Mbio. Si ni kweli? So self-discipline is a major factor among ourselves. We are being told that 80% of Kenyans are Christian. And we are also being told that 80% of Kenyans are corrupt. So where are Christians? So
drop mic.
Those
kabisa. Hata kunaje uongeze. Mariam.
There's also, I want to hear of you as well.
Yeah, my name is Tabu Charles. First of all, my fellow Kenyans, if we want to bring change, we have to capture Nairobi. We as a civil society community, we need to identify the entire 17 counties with our representatives so that we capture Nairobi first. Then we shall get to the power. Because the differences normally we have is that we scatter. And once we scatter, we cannot capture. So if we can align ourselves so that we capture right from the MCA to the governor and also to the senator, we can make it in Nairobi. Because always we are here in Nairobi. 2, the finance. Without finance also, because the government is normally monitoring us, and they say that who has financed them? That is normally the language they use once we acted on the activities that they are doing wrong to us. So as Kenyans or as Nairobians, we need first of all to identify. My fellow colleagues talk about Boniface Mwangi. I can remember when I was vying.
Let me stop you a bit. I like the direction you're taking, but let me stop you. You're saying, Sai, how do you fix us? How do you fix yourself? How does he fix himself so we become better citizens? The issue of integrity has been raised. The issue of the thinking has been raised. How do we fix ourselves so we can become better citizens?
Thank you. That's why I'm telling you, we cannot do this thing without finance. And finance will go concurrently with civic education. And we come out and speak to our neighbors and our colleagues, wherever we are. We stand with one agenda. That if we want to fix ourselves, because power is everything. Because we are here because of lack of power. And man is power. So what we need to do resource mobilization and capacity building among ourselves so that we can transform ourselves on the grassroots level. And we capture from the grassroots to the top. And then we'll be heard and we'll be given a direction. And we'll mold this country to a better governance and leadership. Because as much as we are giving ideas, we cannot be a bunch of ideas. They want ideas from us, but they don't want to include us in that good governance. Whatever we are trying to raise is what they take, but they leave us where we are. Okay. So we see we don't grow. So we need to grow even us. But for us to grow, we have to think about ourselves. Let us map up Nairobi, 17 counties, 17 constituencies. Then we have to make our people now to come up and to support them. Then we capture the power of Nairobi. Once we capture the capital city, we shall also go on to other cities and capture on the
Juliani amekuangalia, Juliani ameshake madredi, Juliani.
No, kenye tunauliza, so niko na best yangu fulani alikuwa na biashara hapo Thika Road. Akaniambia nowadays ana prefer kuandika kazi Burundians than Kenyans, because Kenyans ni wezi. Unaweka mtu kazi anaiba. A Kenyan go out of their way to go and steal from you. So ukiniambia hapa capturing power. So the same person alikuwa huko juu is the same person ukimtoa hapa chini, ukicapture power hapa chini utamweka hapo juu aneni. So sisi kama wezi tukubali kwanza. Tuseme sisi ni wezi. Tuseme sisi ni atujiamini kwanza. Juu sahi hapa nikiambia mtu wewe ni aje usinipatie shilingi 10, ataona venye yeye haezi Jumini Juliani mimi ndio nafaa kumpatia, si ndio? Kwa hivyo amejidharau kwanza. Kiberenge anaongea hapo, unaona anaongea na heshima yake. But sasa tukikaa kando hapo tena, mimi ni Juliani, naonekana niko na pesa kumli. Si ndio? Sasa mimi all of a sudden mimi na mimi kijana, naonekana mimi ndio sasa niko na mawaidha kuliko kila mtu because niko na jina na pesa. So kwanza sisi ni wezi, second sisi ni tunajidharau. So mbona sasa always tunaongea kuhusu political class na tunaongea kuhusu na sisi wenyewe ndio hao sasa. So that's what I want to ask.
And that's what we are trying to fix. Kujiangalia tuseme mimi si mwizi.
So Janet, is it kujiangalia kusema mimi si mwizi ama mimi ni mwizi, and how do I move from here?
That's a good one.
Sitaki kuendelea kuwa mwizi.
Yeah, labda naanza hapo, sitaki kuendelea. Raymond and Paul were really disagreeing na hiyo mambo ya pesa. Raymond was speaking as he was speaking. He's like, no, we don't need to finance ourselves first. Before we get financed, we need to fix ourselves. Raymond, Paul, what did you mean by that? Ulikuwa una disagree kabisa?
Yeah. And there was a mic that was to be a roaming mic. Mtu wa roaming mic ni nani? Ndio huyo. Patia Raymond your mic.
Thank you very much. I was disagreeing with the members because everybody's talking about the political line, fixing the... You cannot fix this nation or fix ourselves using political line. Number one, those political line, they have already fixed themselves. And I want to add the young leaders who are coming from universities and the colleges. Me, myself, let me take an example. I'm a contractor, small contractor. I did diploma in civil engineering. Number one, if you have done such like courses or nurses, go close to where the hospital are. Look your friends who are near the hospital so that they can give you an opportunity to fix yourself first. Don't wait somebody to come and bring money to you so that you can, after somebody giving you money, he knows that you will fix him. And the political line, they know. They cannot empower you fully because when they empower you, you will fix them. That's why we need, first of all, to fix ourselves financially first. Because you can't fix yourself hapo nyumbani kama una pesa. Sio kweli? Hauwezi fix kama uko na njaa. So I want to add the young leaders who are longing for the leadership of this country. Hauwezi kuwa leader when you have not fixed yourself. Kwanza tutafuteni. Najua, there is something I want to say about construction industry. It's now growing. Lakini kuna watu wale wenye wanafaa watetee wale watu wanafanya construction wako tu hapa at the union, and if they are listening they have to stay up because construction right now litakuja kubeba inji. We are not saying that we are living along wale watu wenye wamefanya course zingine, but fix ourselves first before muanza kusema Ruto ama nini Uhuru and so forth. Thank you.
Asante Raymond. Nani shika mic.
Okay. I also want to disagree with my fellow member that we don't need finances to fix ourselves. What we need to do is to call ourselves into a meeting and ask ourselves deeper questions of where we want to go as a nation, especially young people. The values we are instilling to our young people is what we should relook at. What we are teaching our children in school while they are young, we need to start fixing it from there, because we are product of our ecosystem. If our generation grows with the mindset that you need money in order to be somewhere, then that person will not go anywhere. Sometimes we need ideas, we need to sit down, we need to strategize, we need to sit down and ask ourselves where you want to go. So one of the things we need to relook at, it is the values we are putting in our children and in our generation, and even older people also need to do some forms of mentorship. They need to lead from the front and show us the way, show the young people the way, because we are the product of our ecosystem. Then from there, we will get the generation which is ready, fixed, and the nation will be fixed. depending on the generation we are raising.
Naweza sema kitu tafadhali. So mimi nimelelewa Dandora phase 4. Hapo Awendo. Watu wangapi wa Dandora hapa? Huyu jamaa unanimezea sinio? So tukiwa mtaani ya nilikuwa nataka kutengeneza pesa sana ndio nihame niende ipate nyingine, si ndio? So tukahama nikaenda Ngumo, sasa Kileleshwa, sijui unanunua whatever. Tukifika Kileleshwa, the same problem tuko nayo Dandora, insecurity iko bado Kileleshwa. Maji haikuji Kileleshwa, stima inapotea Kileleshwa. So sasa uliniambia ati mimi nijifix, si ndio? Uliniambia mimi nitafuta pesa, si ndio? Na tukatafuta, tukaimba, tukafanya kila kitu, si ndio? But bado tuko hii Kenya tu, the same Kenya iko na shida Kileleshwa, the same Kenya iko shida na Garissa, iko same shida whatever. So mimi na agree na mwenzangu hapa is that wewe every time tumekaa hapa, just because wewe una pesa, does it mean you're less Kenyan or less human than me? Does it mean you don't have ideas? Hauna ideas wewe bro? Si ndio? So does it mean you're lesser Kenyan because hauna pesa ama una nini? Maybe we should look at, because hii mwanasiasa kuja na wacha nipate example, the last example. Kuna siku fulani tulikuwa university and then Sonko akakuja. Sonko akakuja na watu wake akiwa governor. And then some other politician, I think Nanok akaingia. So when waliingia tuko university hapo, after watu kuongea kila kitu, Sonko akatoka. Niko na watu wa university wanafuata Sonko, wakaacha Nanok sisi tukatembea tu hapo na tukarealize the reason walikuwa wanafuata Sonko is because walikuwa wanajua Sonko atawaachi na watu wa university. So kuna kitu hapo, si ndio? Kuna ujinga fulani hapa iko hapo that I let, si ndio? So Kenya nakwambia ni aje, mimi na try to understand as a Kenyan is that if yes shida ni pesa, maybe when relationship yetu na pesa ama relationship yetu na value tunafaa kuangalia difference. So nini, so is there something else that we need? You understand, ningependa kujua, of course, is there something else we need to look at? Because hizo kwenye tumeongea kuhusu sijui pesa, sijui kuhusu ecosystem is not working.
Right. I know he wants to say something to that effect, because it is a good question to ask. If we can't see value outside money, then we will be beholden to the people with money forever. Itakuwa tu, as long as you have it, you're the guy, the number one.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Dayton. I come from portfolio management background. And in this field, macroeconomics is a big deal. And the framework we use to analyze these macroeconomic trends and patterns to come up with investment strategy is the same framework that is used in economic development. The same framework that Kibaki was using in his economic development agenda. The same framework that economics development textbooks recommend. The theme for today is fixing the nation, right? Mm-hmm. And it can take many dynamics. There's fixing ourselves, which, based on my experience, is work in progress. Yeah. You never reach there. To the grave, you'll still be fixing yourself. Yeah. So I don't want to focus on that. Mm-hmm. My focus right now is on economic development, because there's a formula to economic development. Just like there's a formula for baking a cake, there's a formula for economic development. Rich nations do not become rich by chance. They use data to develop their nations. We have to go back to the basics of using data in our development agenda. So what does the data say? Economists and the World Bank agree that for African nations to develop, to get rid of poverty within one generation, that's 25 years, we must grow by 7% per year. Economic growth of 7% per year for 25 years. That's a magic number. But for this to happen, the blood of the economy must flow. The blood of the economy is the private sector. Private sector is the life force of the economy. Even in the developed nations, the money they give us as foreign aid does not come from thin air. It comes from their private sector through taxes. What's the meaning of private sector? If you have a business and the number of employees is between 1 and 250, if the number of employees you have is between 1 and 250, you fit in that category of the private sector. Mm. The driver of economic growth. But for this to work, private sector demands three things. I'll be very brief. Private sector demands three things: capital, labor, and productivity. Capital is essentially money to start or expand your business. The more money you have, the more access money you have, the better place is your business. That's capital. Okay. Labor is workforce, employees, between 15 and 65 years of age. That's in terms of quality and quantity. Okay. We are talking in terms of healthcare and education. If there's any metric that demands maximum attention, it's the labor metric. This is a conversation we need to have on our table. Okay. In terms of skills.
Asante.
We need to focus on that.
I want to bring you back
to... The last one is
you know,
productivity. That's just efficiency and innovation. These three metrics are the foundations of economic development. Unless you go back to these pillars, don't be surprised meeting this place 60 years from now to have the same conversation. Thank you, guys.
You don't think it has anything to do with fixing self?
That's the thing. I'm just saying, if we fix the economy, have we fixed the nation?
And also I have a question, quickly. Juliani has said something important, I think imetushtua kidogo. It's like the fact that you have people who would rather look elsewhere than hire ourselves. I want to speak to that. How do we begin to see ourselves differently? Because in Anzana Moral, I think, right? Because Juliani said we have a way that we think of things in the wrong way. We don't see a solution beyond I can do it and I can do it with integrity. So my question is just, as we're fixing ourselves, there's somebody watching this right now, they're very discouraged. Maybe they don't have a job. They don't feel like there's anything that can work for them. So they're like, how do I even begin to fix myself? What does that look like? I don't know if that makes sense. Like, where do I start? They're saying fixing myself just sounds like this foreign thing.
Kabla Kimbengera ongea and answer that. Most of us hapa hivi, the reason why hatuna kazi is not because hakuna kazi. Kwanza. The problem is watu wengi kuwapatia kazi, na mimi nimefanya kazi na watu kadhaa, nimewapatia kazi mara kadhaa. Ukipatia mtu kazi Mkenya, umpatie fanya hii. First of all, Mkenya afanyi ni they don't think beyond what they know, what they need to do. One, so they're not innovative, they don't go out of their way. Second, ni wezi. Wanatafuta tu njia ya kuibia ukimpatia kazi. So, and I'm not saying that, but I've talked to people who employ people, I've talked to whatever. And the best example is fundi wa nguo, na fundi wa kiatu, na fundi wa nini. The biggest... Seremala. The biggest right now employment opportunity, Seremala, wa stima, na fundi wa maji. Ukipatia watu watatu kazi sahi, hakuna kitu.
So what can they do differently, Juliani?
Let me say something, Kidogo, about how do we fix ourselves. And before I say something, my wife says she's watching and she has told me to say hi to Janet Mbogwa, the beautiful lady who ambaye alikuwa anapamba wa newsrooms with the news bulletins, and she got us attracted to watching news. So what I would like to say, it is more about mindset, shifting mindset. Juliani, you have given a very good example, and I want to build on that. We have this tendency, and it is a culture amongst us, that you handle a public problem, you give us a private solution to a public problem. For example, when this road is muddy, it has rained and it is muddy, you solve it privately by buying gumboots, you see, or buying a four-wheel. It is a public problem, but you are solving it privately. We must shift from that position of giving a private solution to a public problem. We must go back to Article 43 of our Constitution. Article 43 of our Constitution says that every citizen is entitled, has a right to health care, has a right to education. Those rights are listed there. You must understand that you have a right to a good road. you must not give it a private solution, and you must collectively agitate as a community. Shift your mindset and collectively agitate as a community for that road to be corrected.
Wewe Kiberenge, naona ni kama unataka kutuderail kwa ile point Julian alikuwa anatengeneza. Ya sisi wenyewe. Sasa Kiberenge ameanza kutuambia
naomba nimjibu tu Julian kwa dakika moja. Jambo la kwanza nimeshangaa sana kama ni Julian. Mpaka kabiti niame pale nikuja hapo nimwangalie vizuri. Kwa sababu kitu ya kwanza nione kama ni yeye ama macho yangu ndio yaone vizuri. Kwa sababu nilikuwa nasikia kiongea kiwa kando pale. One, kuna mwimbaji mzungu alikuwa anaimba mambo kama reggae, alikuwa anasema kwamba what I believe I do. Julian alisema kwamba hii nchi tumekuwa na shida, akasema kwa sababu ya corruption, mwalimu anakosa chakula, sijui na kumkuza shule mtoto. The same Julian, ile story anatuambia ni different na ile aliimba. That means yule ambaye anaamini sio ile anafanya nini? Jambo la kwanza nataka kumwambia hivi, in this Africa watu bandilika. Nataka kupatia jirani yetu hapa Tanzania uanzia uongozi unaanzia juu mpaka chini. Unasikia mkuu wa nyumba 10 ana wakubwa wengine 3 ambaye inakuwa kama ni mkuu wa nyumba 3. Kwa hivyo kama ni corruption inaanzia kuanzia juu, tunaimaliza mpaka wapi? Ukitembea kwa Mtanzania leo, utaendea kwa Mtanzania, unaambiwa kwa ule katibu ya nyumba 3, lazima uende kwa katibu ya nyumba 3, umwelezee huyu mgeni wako ameingia, atakaa muda gani, kwa sababu atakula chakula yako, umalize uende kwa jirani, umalize isonge. Ili tuweze kumalizana, kwanza ni lazima kitu ya kwanza tuwe transparent and accountable. Simple. Ili tuweze kuwa nini? Tuweze kusonga. Na this bunge la mwananchi we have tried almost 80%. Tumekuwa transparent kidogo. Although hatukuange na nguvu sana.
Wacha ni mjibu jana kama msanii. Akona mablinka mimi. Na umeshika mic hivi kama msanii, so nikaona wacha nikusikize. Wacha nikwambie mkurugenzi. Kwa hiyo nyumba yangu nimesema sitasimama maovu. Nilisema mimi. Sio nyinyi, mimi sijui kukuhusu. Mimi najua mimi niko na njaa yangu. Niko njaa, siwezi karanga, mimi ni hae shagala. Alafu nikasema sitasimama mwovyo kitawala. So mimi mkurugenzi nakwambia hivi. Mimi nikilelewa Dandora na nikafika pale niko pale sasa hivi. Nilisema mimi kwanza. So sitategemea huyu kwanza. Kabla niambie huyu Kenya afanye, lazima nijiambie mimi kwanza. Unanipata mkurugenzi? So mimi nikiongea kuhusu walimu, nikiongea kuhusu polisi, nikienda kwa street hapa nipigane na watu, ni mimi najipigania na watoto niko na watoto wawili. So siambii mtu mwingine afanye kitu kwanza. Sasa ndo nakwambia, unataka nikwambie sasa? Naambia nyinyi ni wezi. Wakenya nyinyi ni wezi na mnachagua na ile siku mtaamua msichague wezi, ile siku utasema mimi, ukikaa na mimi hapo unaniambia Juliani, mimi ndapanguza hii kiatu yako kwanza ndio unilipe. Sitakuomba pesa unipatie, ndapanguza kiatu ndio nikupe, ama ndakutengenezea shati ndio, ama nipatie kazi ya stima nikufanyie vizuri, ndakufanyia na saa 2 ama 1 hour ndakufanyia na 1 hour. Alafu nikimaliza na 1 hour nifanyie vizuri, hata sitaki unikugonge nikupatie 1000, mimi nipatie tu 200 yangu ni ile siku utaniambia hivyo ndio sasa tutaongea. Other than that nyinyi ni wezi, nyinyi ni waongo, nyinyi wa Kenya.
Okay, I can see what is happening. The reason why most of Kenyans tend to go through dubious ways to make ends meet. Wewe kama ukusoma kwa nyumbani.
Tendele.
The reason why Kenyans go through the shortest cut to make ends meet. You look around and you realize people who went through the shortest cuts are the ones with the big say. That the person who has been mentioned in a grand graft scheme has been rewarded with a lucrative job somewhere. And the person who stayed with his principles and decided to do things the right way, they ended up being paupers in the society. I will give you an example. where the late George Anyona, most of you know him, alijengewa nyumba after he had died because he was so principled he could not loot public resources. And the people who looted public resources depict you as a failure in the society. The late Vice President, Wamalwa Kijana, is the poorest Vice President we have because he did not loot public property. And it's a case of monkey see, monkey do. As the young person sees that, and he sees that it's only thieves making it big in life, then I am not going to make it through the straight way. And the other question, somebody mentioned that police anakusimamisha, you have an option of giving out 50 or going to court. The question is, when you decide to go to court, our justice system, the wheels grind so slowly. You will lose a whole day, you have a family to feed, you will most probably stay in a police cell mpaka kesho. So unaona, if we had a justice system, the way developed countries do, unaenda tu napewa receipt, you appear in court and everything is, you pay the fine, then you will go the straight way. But we have created a system that actually encourages somebody to be a thief. And that system is what is making people to be thieves. When you see the people who have, you get a situation where somebody is vying for an office, but he does not have a lot of money to give out. And the other one who is a half-wit, somebody who doesn't have any idea of what to do in that office, has a lot to give. Then people who have, and then we have been put in a situation where you cannot do anything. It is the people who are the ones rewarding graft and the dubious ways of making ends meet. You have to go to them and bow to them to go through something. Then for us to fix ourselves, as I finish, is that we need to fix this system. The system that actually encourages honesty and discourages lack of integrity. Right now, corruption is the most lucrative thing you can ever do.
Honorable member, yes. We've got to be winding up quite soon. Kuna mzee amekuwa akitisha mic hapa for a long time.
Hello.
Yes. Mpatie kwanza alafu tutakuja kwa usijali itarudi. Na uchukue dakika 1.5. 1.5 tunafunga show.
Thank you so much Bwana Latif. Kwa jina naitwa Mjomba, nawakilisha bunge la mwananchi sehemu za Coast na North Eastern. Ningependa kusema hivi, katika Afrika tunahitaji only 200 billion na Africa inajisustain itself. Na in East Africa, Kenya inaanza generate over 50 billion, hata 100 billion. But la kushangaza tunasikia ati every month, ati every day 200 billion zinapotea. Hii ni kitu cha ajabu sana. Nikiangalia Kenya, mali tulikuwa tukianza mwanzilishi Jomo Kenyatta, tulikuwa almost, kama tungekuwa tunaendelea vizuri, tulikuwa na kitu kilikuwa kinaitwa the black gold in Africa, kahawa. Na kahawa ilikuwa inafanya vizuri sana na majani chai. Hata ukiangalia hizi nyumba nyingi zimejengwa hapa capital city.
How do we fix ourselves?
So sisi kwa sasa tutoe kitu kinaitwa uoga. Tuende tudea hawa jamaa ambao tuliwachagua, tuambie tu sisi mali tumefikia. Sasa hatuwezi kuendeleza tena kuangalia ama kuentertain nonsense. Tujitoe muhanga, tusiwe waoga. Hata Biblia, hata Qur'ani nasema waoga watakuwa kwanza kwenda motoni jehanamu, alafu ndio wale wengine wakuje baadaye. Tujitoe katika kila jambo na tutakuwa sawa.
Umekiendelea hapo karibu. Tosha, asante. 1.5 minutes.
Sawa.
Well, thank you, NTV, turning on our world and fixing the nation. I'm very much delighted for partnering with the Bunge la Wananchi National. My name is Agai Tenye. I'm the national speaker of this noble social movement. Going to the point on how we can fix our nation, first and foremost, let us clean our public service commission. Let the employment being done there not only be based on education, but also on the character of the person who is to be employed. Because you find that Kenyans are being mistreated in public offices, and that is only the place where we can get service. So let's have a clean public service, well integrated by the Kenyan military, because currently the only working organization is the Kenya military. So let us be disciplined, and let us do the right thing at the right time.
Asante Bwana Speaker. Mariam.
As we close, we don't fix the nation on any given day, in any given year, in any given 10 years. It's a work in progress. I think what's universal is that tuko na kazi moja ya kufanya, whether ni mimi as an individual, whether it's the nation, right? So my parting shot would just be, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? Then kesho a little bit better, then kesho a little bit better. How can the nation be a little bit better today than it was yesterday? And then kesho we do the same thing, Sunday, Monday, over and over again. We repeat. Someday we'll be like, this nation still needs a lot of fixing. But tutaangalia penye tumetoka and we'll say, actually tumetoka mbali. Same to now, this nation needs a lot of fixing, but tumetoka kwa Moi. And we made it, we're here. So it's a little bit of progress. We celebrate the small wins and for the big ones as well. I think we've had some very big ones in the last year. But yeah, asanteni sana. Even ndio tunafaa kuwa tukiongea. We'll continue having these conversations with you guys. I know Janet and Eric will say more to the same. But asanteni kwa kuja, kwa kuongea, for making yourselves feel heard, and we'll keep pushing this conversation. Asanteni sana for your time.
I love that, Mariam. A little progress every day gets to big progress. Wanawake wako wapi, by the way? Hawajaingia. Wamechelewa, wanapika chai, Kai. We also needed to hear that. I know, Mariam is about to
ourselves, kwanza.
Yeah, I would have loved to hear some of their voices, but I want to thank everybody who came. Tunashukuru sana. I think we need to do this a lot more. Yeah, this kind of conversations. But how do we fix ourselves? Tunajiangalia tu. It may not be the easiest thing to do, but it's the most important thing we can do. So I'm really happy that we've heard from you. And yeah, let's check in with you in a few months to say whether we moved or whether we stayed where we are. I think that's the most important thing that we can do. But yes, this has been an incredible edition of Fixing the Nation, Mike kwa ground.
Asante, asanteni sana. Nimwambia mko na viongozi. Kuna speaker, kuna mzee wa nyumba 10. Tufungie mzee wa nyumba 10.
Asante sana Bwana Latif. I also want to take this great opportunity to thank the Nation Media Group for organizing a public participation debate like this one on fixing the nation. Where we are seated is Stare location, and it is under CBD division, and there's a DC also the sub-county. And I am here, I just want to thank you for everything, but I want on fixing it, I want to say that the county government is trying to do a very good work by fixing Nairobi. That is under the governor. He has done well to make sure the streets are also now clean, but I only have one thing that has not been fixed properly by the county government. I just want to say,
Sasa,
no, sorry, I'm very sorry about that. What I wanted to say, listen to me, please. Please. What I want to say is that the Nation NTV has even had the problem of getting this ground here. There's a general letter that was written that they stop all function. So I want them to separate humanitarian activities, activation, and awareness, which means those are not hawkers. They are supposed to give opportunity to blood donations to public places to take place. That was my own concern. Because the corporate industry is also being killed. Wamewekwa pamoja na hawkers. Asante sana. Karibuni sana kwa Stare location.
Tutarudi hapa. Asanteni sana. Now, everybody, bunge la wananchi, bunge. Sasa nimefurahi sana. Thank you very much, guys. The whole idea of fixing the nation, one conversation at a time, is that we've got to fix it together. And we'd like to encourage you to join our community of fixers. We ask each other questions, we tell each other the truth, we push ourselves harder, and even when we are asking our leaders, we ask our leaders the same way. In the studio, tutakuwa tukiwa na viongozi pia. Pia nyinyi tutakuwa tukiwaita kwa studio. Kuja tunaongea, tunaulizana, how do we sort ourselves out? Na tunarudi hapa pia. So from now, as we finish fixing the nation, we are going to your world. And Mwikali ako hapa pia, na ako na DJ, ndio yule pale unaona. So bado tunaendelea na muziki. Mwikali, DJ, wako hapa. We shall hear what the conversation is all about. We shall be playing some music and we continue the conversation. Fixing the nation, one conversation at a time. We have been doing Mic Kwa Ground today, and we shall be doing more of those Mic Kwa Grounds. We shall be having Shika Mic in the studio. We'll also be having digital barazas where we engage online. We thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day. See you again on Monday on NTV, on Nation FM, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on X, on Instagram, kila mahali. And if you missed any part of this conversation, you'll find it on all those digital platforms, including ntv.co.ke. That's it. Have a good one. Makofi tafadhali. Asanteni sana, sana, sana.